bandits in Katsina State have made stunning allegations claiming the Nigerian government orchestrated their criminal activities and only now decided to call for peace during a peace meeting between Batagwawa and Karachi communities held on Saturday. One of the bandits declared they have stopped attacks following government intervention. The bandit spokesperson stated in a now viral video, and I quote, "It was the government that wanted us to engage in banditry, but now it has called us and told us to stop." He alleged that despite 2 months of attempts to initiate peace talks, authorities only located them when they genuinely decided to engage. The armed group insisted that peaceful coexistence depends entirely on Nigerian leaders, stating, "If you want to cry, don't cry with us, the terrorists, but cry with your government, for they are the ones who made us do what we have been doing." I mean, this is really, really alarming, Rufai. The allegations raise serious questions about the relationship between criminal networks and state actors, echoing long-standing suspicions about complicity in Nigeria's worsening insecurity. Rufai, your thoughts, and also I'd like your thoughts on the two stories as well, just to put them all together before we take this one.
Real quickly, see, Oji, in a country where bandits can pick up a mic and say this in a public space, when did they say this? What has been the reaction of the government to it? You see, that's why I said a lot of the problems our government can solve if we are ready. And this attempt to make it be about Christians and Muslims is never true. My Muslim brothers, my Christian brothers, we are all one, united. Our adversaries are those that are using insecurity to hurt all of us. Let's not fall to their propaganda. Christians, Muslims, can't you see they've started again? They've started using our heads to knock each other. Christians, Muslims, can't you see that they're not talking about the killings of all of us as Nigerians? They are talking about us against each other. Christians, Muslims, we need to be united. Just like we all prayed together and we stood united during NSAS. We serve one God, the living God. Do not allow these actors to pit Christians against Muslims. Our adversary is the insecurity. I'm happy that Reverend Hayab is speaking up against this. So, during the data, although because I'm not seeing the primary data that Beacon Security had, but doesn't this data even justify the allegations of genocide? Mm-hmm. Genocide, when you go back to Lepkin's definition of genocide, it talks about intent to clear out, the cultural antecedents, physical assault and brutality. Mm-hmm. Over 100 churches. Doesn't it talk about it? And so when government was saying 81% reduction, but Beacon Security is saying there's been an increase. What terrorism index is saying Nigeria is now number 6 from the position of number 8 it was in 2023. Isn't it time for us to look inward? So government, this is at your doorstep. Terror bandits are now saying that you are the ones using them. And we've also seen allegations against government officials. Mm-hmm. We've also seen government officials do photo op with bandits. Right. We've also had government officials being mentioned. Right. Government, if you love this country, release the list of the terrorist financier that was released in Dubai. All right. And let justice and the killing end.
All right. Well, if I come to you. Meanwhile,
is there Christian genocide in Nigeria? And can we even define genocide?
I just want you to please take your time, listen to this video. You know, still on this issue of Christian genocide in Nigeria, a lot of persons has been airing their opinions, their views concerning this. Is there truly, the major thing is there a Christian genocide going on in Nigeria? That has been established. Yes, there's Christian genocide in Nigeria. Is a Muslim not being killed as well? That one has also been established. Yes, Muslim has been killed, but it is Christian genocide. They are after Christians. Now, what is the solution? The solution, since this has been established, the solution is what we are looking for. It's because we have not been able to solve the issues. That's why the internationals is Donald Trump wants to intervene to help us, since we are not able to solve it, because it is obvious. This has become a public, global debate. Right? This is an intellectual debate that has caught a lot of global attentions. Do you understand? So it is not whether it is Christian genocide or not, but yes, it is. What is the solution? What is the federal government doing about it? Do you want a gun brazen? Do you want Donald Trump to intervene with military intervention or not? Or what is Tinubu APC government doing about this? A lot of persons are giving their views, opinions as per what federal government, what they think federal government should do now to make sure Donald Trump did not come, and not say Donald Trump did not come. That is to say, not for military intervention, but they need to collaborate with the US to make sure they fish these people out. So this man, I want you to take your time and listen to what he said as well, because this is a scholar, right? Take your time, listen to him. We'll come back and talk about it. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Journalist Ireti Bakari Yusuf anchored a special edition of Borderlines examining the contentious issues of insecurity, allegations of Christian genocide in Nigeria, and the Trump administration's threat to the Nigerian state. The program featured security consultant Dr. Kabiru Adamu, who provided data-driven analysis presenting statistics on terrorist killings in Nigeria, broken down by religious affiliation, offering empirical context to claims and counterclaims about the nature of violence in the country. The program also featured testimony from Reverend Joseph John Hayab, chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State Chapter. Reverend Hayab shared harrowing personal testimony, revealing he had buried almost 2,000 people in Kaduna in the past, with over 300 more deaths following the 2002 Miss World riots. He expressed frustration on how attacks on Christians, including burned churches, killed pastors, and wiped out families, are routinely dismissed as mere communal clashes rather than targeted religious violence. Let's take a look.
I'm speaking as the pastor who buried the almost 2,000 people in 2000 in Kaduna. Quote me, my name is Reverend Hayab. I'm speaking as the pastor who also did the mass burial of the over 300 people of the Miss World Beauty Pageant on the 23rd of November 2002. And I'm also the pastor who came out publicly to denounce the Danish cartoon in 2006, but it later leads to the death of Christians in Maiduguri and death of Christians in Bauchi. So I have been around and I think I know this story. Listening, we are coiling it into the politics of America as if we are not in Nigeria. Sincerely speaking, there has been killings of Christians in northern Nigeria before even the advent of Boko Haram. I was in Kano. I just left Kano with 1 week, and the killing of the visit of Yabonke happened. People were caught. You know, it's a different thing that you are shot to death. It's something else that you are caught to pieces, caught by the neck, caught hard to death. I saw this corpse. I had to run back. My pastor asked me, why did you come back? I said, no, I just left for Kaduna 1 week, and then I heard what happened to my people in places in Kano. I just came back. I was the pastor who first came out to condemn the Danish cartoon because I knew what was going to follow. But despite that effort, Christians were killed in Maiduguri. In Maiduguri in 2009, when Boko Haram started, they were never attacking Muslims. They actually went for the church because they said we are infidel.
Vimbai, this was quite explosive, but let's take a look at the summary of attacks on places of worship as presented by Dr. Kabiru Adamu over the period of 2021 to 2025. He drew up this chart. It says churches, a total of 121 incident targeted churches, resulting in 389 abductions and 110 killings. The years 2021, 23 incidents occurred. 137 people were abducted. In 2022, 33 incidents occurred. 74 people abducted and 47 people killed. I mean, this appeared to be, the peak years of this specific type of attack. Now, for mosques, Bimbai, are you watching? Over the same period, a total of 75 incidents targeted mosques, resulting in about 263 abductions and then 142 killings. Notably, mosques attacks recorded more fatalities. It showed a total of 142 versus 110, despite having fewer incidents and fewer abductions. Also, 263 versus 389 overall. I mean, the year 2025, he says, saw the highest number of killings in mosques, a rise to 51 from 10 incidents. So the insecurity is speaking, as you see in that graph. Well, this critical conversation highlights the complexity of Nigeria's security challenges, where legitimate concerns about religious violence intersects with geopolitical narratives and domestic politics. Reverend Hayab's testimony of burying thousands cannot be dismissed. Yet, Dr. Adamu's statistics reminds us that terrorism affects Nigerians across faiths, well, as Trump threatens Nigeria over genocide claims, the question remains, are we addressing security with facts and solutions, or allowing foreign powers to weaponize our tragedies for their own political agendas? And these are the sort of questions that are out there. And I think that this is what the federal government needs to study. These are people that are speaking. We have security experts. We have pastors. We have priests that are willing to give account. I remember that we hosted the Arewa community here. And one of the statements that I took dear to my heart was, why was it that the federal government left this whole insecurity issue until Trump wrote that tweet, instead of setting up a judicial panel of inquiry to have all these actors come and we investigate and tackle the problem, which is what I think should happen now, as Pastor Adeboye has also suggested. Your thoughts?
Gosh, there's so many things that come to mind with this, OG. I think number one is data. data, data, and data. I have to continue to emphasize that, because we see independent people coming with, with various elements of their data, with their own research, which is important. However, this is where we now see the vacuum that has been created by the fact that we're missing data. We're missing official, verified data. Now, again, I think I want to echo what my colleagues have already said. Ayo and Rufai have already said. Let's be careful about breaking this down into, Christian and Muslim and so forth. And let's come together now and focus on the issue at hand. The issue at hand for me, OG, I think is the insecurity, number one, and number two, it being weaponized by foreign powers. Now, I love that you brought South Africa, because let's bring that into context. Over the past 24 hours, the group that went to report white genocide, that's AfriForum, that went to report that to Donald Trump, have actually backpedaled. And they've come back and said that, oh no, they never said there was a genocide and they're sorry. Now, this is an important thing to note, because in the South African context, there isn't this data that we're seeing concerning Nigeria, it doesn't exist in South Africa, because the genocide genuinely doesn't exist. There's no evidence of it whatsoever. However, we already see what a false allegation has done. G20, you don't have the United States coming. In terms of tariffs, economic warfare, it's gotten worse with the United States. So the relations between the two countries have become so frosty, and it's impacting the average South African now, because jobs are being lost, because American investment and American business that used to engage in that country is no longer engaging. Right. So why do I say this? I say this because it still brings us back home, that even if we are to seek alliances and assistance, the root foundational issues are here at home, and only we can address them. They can come, they can advise, they can do all of those things, but ultimately the core issues here are that there is insecurity, but also that there's a lot of national healing that needs to happen between various groups and various ethnicities, whether it be by religious divide or whether it be by ethnic divide. There is national healing that needs to happen, so that this mutual animosity that exists between groups can start to be tempered down.
Well said, Vimbai. Thank you for your submission. And while you were speaking, Rufai shared this story, which I already have as well, about the villages that were attacked even over the weekend. Last week as well, there were villages attacked in Benue State. The details, the gory visuals are just heartbreaking. They say several villagers are feared dead, while many others remain missing following a suspected herdsman attack in Anuwule community in Ogwelu, Ohimini local government area of Benue State. So we're calling on the security forces in Benue State to actually help us out with this reporting, because obviously we have our reporters on ground who would like to also share this sort of information with our security forces if they have apprehended the people that are behind this dastardly attack. Well, meanwhile, may their souls rest in peace. Meanwhile, Amber, U.S. Congressman Riley Moore of West Virginia, who has been one of the leading voices in the American government's allegations of a Christian genocide, appeared on Fox News telling the public not to test President Trump's resolve on the issue. Moore stated that Trump is very serious about the issue and that Nigeria should instead use this moment as an opportunity to build a stronger relationship with the United States. Let's take a look.
I've said this multiple times, do not test this president's resolve. He is very serious about this. And I do want to highlight something that I've been saying constantly here, that this is actually an opportunity for the Nigerians to strengthen and deepen their relationship with the United States, where we could actually do some enhanced partnership capacity building with them to counter this terrorist threat that they have just spreading across their country. So I'm asking Nigeria, do the right thing here. Partner with the United States, help us protect the Christians in your country, and we will help you. This doesn't have to be all sticks. It can also be carrots here. Or we do have these kinetic military options on the table, which the president has made very clear he will consider.
This is the point, Ayo. Well, Moore's comments in this interview appear to reflect a change in tone from the more aggressive rhetoric the public initially heard from President Trump and his threats to go into Nigeria guns a-blazing. The congressman has suggested that cooperation might be possible for both countries to strengthen their relationship with one another. And this is what I have been preaching on this table. Ayo, a quick sum up, and then we'll take our milestones.
All right, so the video with the bandits just justifies what I said earlier about the government knowing who these terrorist financiers are. They know who the people who are behind them, and they can go after them if they have the political will. Now, this is where the US comes. Yes, we can argue about whether or not the US has Nigeria's best interest at heart, but that tweet or that ex-post by Donald Trump has changed the trajectory of things for Nigeria. We're at least now talking about insecurity. It's now on the front burner more than it's ever been, at least in recent times. And so for that reason alone, I am happy for that ex-post. Now, going back to the advice by Pastor Deboye saying that let's diplomatically have conversations with the United States and show with evidence that we can handle this issue. But can we have partnership in terms of support? The best way that America can help Nigerian Christians or Nigeria as a whole to tackle insecurity is to work with the government, because whether or not America cannot situate its boots on ground forever, they will have to go back. So can they empower or work in synergy? So from intelligence, what they're saying is that let us be aware of the date you're coming, if you're coming, when you're coming at all. Work with the Nigerian security apparatus, because at the end of the day, whatever is left in terms of mopping up the rest of what they've done, it's the Nigerian army that will do that. And so the Nigerian army has to be empowered, equipped in collaboration with the United States to ensure that we tackle insecurity. We have the solution. Let's work in hand with another power that has even better capacity to handle this issue.
The government has shown, the Nigerian government has shown that they have a listening ear, right? I know that they are listening at this point. point. What we need is a collaboration, and I will keep emphasizing that the best that I can. Now,
Is there Christian genocide in Nigeria? And can we even define genocide?
Okay. I'll tackle your question straight away. But first of all, let me be polite and say good morning to you, to Ayo, and to Mrs. Ekpeyon. I could never pronounce her first name. So, Mrs. Ekpeyon, good morning.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you all for having me on your program.
Always welcome.
Let us not adopt, thank you, let us not adopt a legal approach to the definition of genocide. If you come to Lagos and you kill 1,000 people, people may say, well, according to the Geneva Convention, that is really not genocide. 1,000 people, there are millions of people in Lagos. If you go to my village, 1,000 people, there are probably going to be only 5 people left, and that will be genocide. So it's a common sense definition we should adopt in dealing with this matter of Nigeria. If you live in the middle belt, there's no genocide, then you don't know what you're talking about. In fact, people who say there's no genocide in the middle belt, I would suggest they go and live in the middle belt, in Jos or wherever, for 100 days, and then they will come back onto your program and tell you their experience. People who say that Muslims are not being killed, to Kano, to Sokoto, to Zamfara, or not spend days there and come back to your program and say that money. He said, why would any Nigerian leave his village and go and live in an IDP camp? I visited those IDP camps when I was serving on the Boko Haram committee. For God's sake, even the hygiene there will not encourage you to send your, in fact, it's better to send your enemy to prison than to send them to an IDP camp. So why will a Nigerian go to an IDP camp if he's not running away for his life? Why will a Nigerian abandon his farm, which is the mainstay for sustaining his family, if he's not afraid that he will be attacked and he will be killed on that farm? So let us pardon Trump for the bombastic language that we know Trump. He's used to that. But the basic questions we should be asking ourselves are Nigerians getting killed in Nigeria? And the answer is yes. Let us not get into a religious civil war. It's not a question of whether Christians are getting killed or Muslims are getting killed. Christians are getting killed, but they are getting killed by Muslims, not by fellow Christians. Muslims are getting killed, not by Christians, but by fellow Christians. What we would like to see is that the killings should stop. And to me, the most sensible statement I have heard made, and on this question within our circle in Nigeria, is that by Pastor Adeboye, who has said that our own president should approach Trump and tell him what he intends to do and ask him for 100 days to prove that he can tackle the situation that is at hand. Because we must not deceive ourselves. After how many years has the Nigerian government, and not just the Tinubu administration, this thing goes all the way back to the Chibok girls under Jonathan's administration. Have we seen, has the government, the Nigerian government, shown a capability?
Prof has been able to establish the fact that there's Christian genocide in Nigeria, that if you live in Benue and you live in some other parts, you cannot say there's no genocide. And it is not a fight between Christians and Muslims. Muslims are being killed, Christians are being killed. There's Christian genocide. Okay, we have Prof back. Prof, continue your view, sir.
Yes. Oh dear, I've forgotten where I stopped. That's what old age does to you.
No, you said the person that have made a great point is Pastor Adeboye.
Yes. In his approach to this problem, and I fully support his idea that our government should approach the American government, not in a confrontational position, because in a way, if you decide to take on the most powerful man in the world, you are just going to suffer the consequences, which we don't want. Nobody wants American boots on the ground.
Yes.
And
all right.
we should stop saying, what's happened? You can't hear me again?
No, we can hear you. We can hear you. It was when you mentioned boots on the ground. I was going to highlight my question there just to bring you in, sir. Can I go on?
Okay.
Thank you so much for allowing me to interrupt. I just needed to get this in because of our time is short. So, talking about boots on the ground, and you've already mentioned or asserted that there is genocide in Nigeria. We had, just before the break, just before you came on, an interview exclusive with U.S. Congressman Bill Huizenga, and he also agrees with you. And then he says that the Nigerian government hasn't done enough for the number of years that this has gone on, up to 15 years. I don't know if you agree with him with that statement. And then Trump's response. In his own view, America has bigger priorities, for instance, trying to, their government shutdown at the moment and other priorities. What do you think in terms of Trump's response or his threat to come to Nigeria, military come to sort out the problem supporting Nigeria? And then what do you think about the support of Nigeria from Russia and the European Union? How does, China and the European Union, how would this play? How would this play out?
No. Please don't let us get ourselves onto the wrong track. Verbally, China, European Union, Russia, they will all come supporting you verbally. But from our experience of what Ukraine has been going through, confronting America with verbal support is not going to do us any good. So don't let us go on to that. What we should be asking now is, what should the Tinubu administration be doing? I believe that it should now, his government and its security forces should show a willingness, a determination, and the ability to confront these people and to defeat them. I have heard it said on your program that if we can do what we did in Ecomog, why can't we take on these people? And the answer is simple: because we're not united domestically. That consensus must be created by the domestic, by the Tinubu administration. And what one means is the administration must give directives to its own troops, and those troops must obey those directives. If it's necessary, Tinubu should clean out those troops to make sure that there are no, within the security apparatus, that there are no people who are leaking information to, whether it's Boko Haram, whether it's the ISWAS, whatever it is. Don't forget that the Americans have a big experience under Jonathan. When the Chibok girls were picked up by the Boko Haram, the Americans came in quietly with the support of the Jonathan, at the invitation of the Jonathan administration, and in collaboration with the Nigerian troops, on what because they discovered the camp where these girls were being kept. And they said, all right, we will throw gas into those camps. And while everybody is sleeping, including the Boko Haram, we'll go in with the Nigerian troops and take out the girls. When the Americans sent the reconnaissance aircraft over the camp, what did they find? Boko Haram troops, Boko Haram militia were wearing masks, which means somebody within the Nigerian army had leaked to the Boko Haram what the plan was. The Americans pulled out. They were not going to subject their troops to this. So we must clean out from within the Nigerian troops people who are sympathetic towards the Boko Haram or ISWAS or whatever it is. But if you want to stop Trump from doing what he says he wants to do, the Nigerian administration must show a determination to clean out this ourselves. But don't let us get into this internal civil war, religious civil war. Christians are not being killed, Muslims are not being killed, Nigerians are being killed. And for the first time, we are getting a superpower who says, I want to help you to clean out this mess. And then we are busy now, within ourselves, fighting amongst ourselves. Yes, it's happening. Yes, it's not happening. Trump didn't say he was coming to invade Nigeria, to occupy Nigeria. He said he was coming to help us to clean out the mess that we have not been able to clean out all these years.
Okay. Okay, sir, and this is a very valid point, very salient point. I know so many people have been waiting to hear your insights on this particular issue. Now, one of the junctures where people are divided is this American support. And as you've highlighted, it's not invasion, it's not coming to invade Nigeria, but it's support to tackle the enemy that is on the ground. Now, one school of thought says this is a welcome development. We need this support because clearly we're not coping on our own. But the other school of thought says, well, this American assistance, if I may call it that, in the past, what is the track record of its success of creating sustainable peace? And number two, there's no country that does something for free. Help is a relative word when we speak in international relations and diplomacy. What will we have to give up to the economic diplomacy-led administration of Donald Trump that we know is extremely transactional? What is the cost to Nigeria?
You've raised a very valid point. Based on our assessment of American involvement in several parts of the world. But the same situation doesn't duplicate itself. We must make an assessment of our own needs and what we need to do to achieve peace and stability in Nigeria. If we say the Americans coming in will lead to what happened in Libya, in Iraq, in Syria, and thereabouts, and that the price we will then have to pay are probably access to our raw materials, access to the gold and diamond and all these other things that we have. On the other hand, if we don't get any assistance and we don't show the capability and the willingness to confront this, we get on by ISWAP and Boko Haram. But since they're in Kwara, tell me, what is the next underground stage that they will go? It is going to be southwest. And that will be the price you will have to pay. You will then have to pay the price of total destability of your country. To me, it's unfortunate, but what we are facing is not pleasant. And we have to now make a risk assessment of what the price we will pay if we allow the Americans to come in, and the price we will pay if we don't accept American assistance and we continue to play games with the we continue to play games with the attacks on our own people, an attack that has taken on a religious connotation. Don't let us deceive ourselves. Or the cathedral was attacked by people who were worshipping. Yeah. Has anything been done about that? No. Did Buhari even make a trip to Owo to see the governor there? No, he didn't. So let us call a spade a spade. We want the killings to stop. Yes. And it is bent on our government. The buck is on Tinubu's table. He must stop the killings. And that's why I said I'm on all fours with Pastor Adeboye. Let the administration ask the American administration to give us time. And we must be prepared to show that time. It's not pleasant when people tell you that they were informing the military, they were informing the police, that people were coming to attack them. They were giving them 3 days notice. And the security forces didn't show up until after they had come and after massive killing had taken place. As a scholar, when you are then discussing with fellow scholars, how do you justify this? Absolutely. You can't, except to say there must have been penetration within our security forces. That penetration must stop.
Absolutely, absolutely. On that very powerful note, we thank you, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. Always a pleasure to be.
People have different perspective about what we're about to discuss tonight. A lot of people see it differently. A lot of people interpret what is happening domestically and internationally differently. Some see it as a wake-up call. Some see it as a justification for a narrative that has been around for quite some time. Some see this as an attack on one group against the other. Some see this as, the international community again exploiting a domestic issue in Africa that Africans are incapable of solving. Starting with you, Reverend, how do you see what is happening? How do you describe it?
When I look at what is going on from the perspective of being a development practitioner, I see it as an opportunity for us to correct something that has been going on, that we have not probably taken good attention, or we have for deliberate reason, did not pay good attention. So let's look at it. Let's see whether it is there. And for every development practitioner, in every conflict and in every conversation like this, he sees opportunities. Opportunity to correct a wrong, opportunity to address something that he feels needs to be addressed, opportunity to engage deeper in the kind of conversation we've been having with people around issue of peace building, social cohesion, an opportunity for us to engage our government, most especially, to see certain things that probably they have not taken it the way it is. But when I also look at it from the point of being a religious leader and a pastor and a Christian, as I would say, who has actually been around, I always tell people who care to listen that I will be lying to anybody if I tell him that killings have not been going on, because I'm not here to discuss that, but I can give down incidences of this kind of killings, and to me as a Christian, I see it as those killings were done targeting at Christians. I can ignore other ones, but if you look at the Miss World Beauty pageant killings, I remember, as I said to in some quarters, that I was the one who did the mass burial. So that's why this memory is deeply in me. What happened? A lady whom all the Christians in northern Nigeria, or let me say 98% of Christians in northern Nigeria don't even know her, if not 99.9. Up to today, I don't even know her. She just wrote an article, whether it was good or bad. But the reaction was not in these days, this paper in Abuja or wherever she resides. The reaction was against churches, because it was not like Christians were fighting. No, let's be clear with this. The reaction was against churches, against pastors, against believers in Kaduna and other places, as if we sat in a meeting and asked her, is it Ifeoma they call her, who go and write an article? We don't even know her. So when things like this keep happening, and I remember the Danish cartoon incident, I don't even know what he designed, and I know many Christians don't even know what he did. But the moment the Danish cartoon came out, as if some people were looking for opportunity, I remember all effort then, New Nigeria was actually alive. I was the first pastor who came out and publicly condemned that cartoon to save situation. The ulamas in Borno, then Moody Sharif was governor, went to the governor and said, no, we are not going to protest. We just want to go to the stadium and express our dislike about the cartoon. But everybody knows how it ended in Bauchi. So when you have those patterns, then Boko Haram came up in 2009, and started. The first casualty, strong casualty of Boko Haram, we are Christians and we are pastors. I have them by name. One was Reverend Bitrus Yakubu. Bitrus Yakubu is actually a Borno man. His brother, at the time he was killed, was the medical director of Maiduguri General Hospital. Then there was one Reverend Oji. Oji is from Bedwe. What we used to remember him for is because when he saw he was not going to come back, he just told those who were escaping that go and tell my brothers I die well. I remember working with one Reverend Ladi Thompson and Pastor Ayoris Jafo, took care of his wife, because the wife was expecting when he died, she had to give birth to a baby not matured. We took care of her and eventually moved her away from Maiduguri to Lagos. She has been in Lagos since 2010 February until this year that she told me that she has moved back to Abuja. Then there was one Reverend Sylvester Osonebong. Sylvester Osonebong hails from Ekotipene. I went for his burial. The fact that I've never been to Calabar, I flew to Calabar, picked a cab. Then there was no airport in what do you call the name of this? Uyo, and went to Ekotipene, buried Osonebong, then drove through that area to Port Harcourt and picked a flight and come back. So I also went to Dogona, so we can go on and tell stories. So when someone looked at me and say, no, there has never been killings of Christians, I'll say, wait a minute, it all depends on the angle you're looking at it. As we've said, there are many versions to it. The angle I see is that Christians have been targeted, and they were not targeted by anybody. They were targeted by extremists who came in the name of Islam. They didn't come as just ordinary people. They came because when Boko Haram kills you, you know the ideology. When Iswa kills you, when Lakarawa kills, I'm just using names that are familiar now, Ansaru, you know who they come for. They did not come for anything. They only later start going after Muslims, from our knowledge, who felt, wait a minute, what you're doing is wrong, and start resisting them. And I know very well that one of the reasons why a large number of Islamic clerics and leaders have really not been hitting at them and saying stop was because they started hitting anybody who speaks against them. But to tell me that it's not really killing about Christians, right. Then I asked myself, hey, wait, I'm a victim. My church was burned. The pastor who preached in my church that night went home and was burnt in his house. Look, we couldn't carry his corpse. We carried it in a mat like a small baby. The man was a retired soldier. It's the story we don't want to tell about. So if that understanding happened, right. But nobody in Christianity will say that Muslims held a meeting and say, go and kill them. But people came and killed us in the name of religion.
Right. And Dr. Nuruddin, bringing you into the conversation, because it is important to also situate what we're hearing, right? How do you respond to a passionate disposition from someone like Reverend Hayab, whom you've known for quite some time, I imagine, when he makes the argument from his perspective? Because there seems to be this discounting or equalization of the argument where you hear mostly from the Muslim side, they say, listen, but we're also losing people in numbers. So I guess that makes it not so religious, attack. How do you respond when facts like this are mentioned in the argument that, listen, this is the reality, and there's no two ways about it?
Well, I think, first of all, I have to sympathize with all the Christians from what he said. And I want them to believe that, and he has said it, Muslims have not come together to organize this. And many Muslims fall victims because they stand against it. So now this brings another step forward. That is to say, whoever you heard him saying that more Muslims have been killed, he is saying a fact. Yes, if you count the number of the victims. And if you look at some people moving from one angle of the nation to another, being attacked because they are Muslims and killed, you will now think of, what is happening to us? Are we not also a victim? But we are not competing in counting numbers of how many Muslims died and how many Christians died. We are at a point where we need unity the most.
That's right.
We need to, first of all, forgive one another. As Muslims, at a point in time, we made some mistake against the Christians. Or someone did it in our name without our conscience, like the Boko Haram did. As Christians, they have made some things wrong to us, unconsciously, unknowingly, unintentionally. Because there was no meeting of the Christians asking the Christians to attack the people coming from Bauchi, from Tahiru Bauchi on Maulud. There was no meeting by the Christians to attack to use the resources of the government to attack Maulud people in Tungang, Biri, or something of that nature. Now, what I am saying is that we need to we need to forgive one another. It is very difficult to forget, but it is important to forgive. As people of God, as children of God, you need to forgive. As a Muslim, you need to forgive. I want to say that it is time when we come to a round table and sit down and discuss the issue of Nigeria seriously. Are we ready to tackle our socio-economic security and political issues together, or we want to depart? I don't want to say that majority of Nigerians want to depart, but I know that majority of Nigerians believe in Nigeria despite the failure of, the continuous failure of governance in Nigeria. But we need to correct it. And if we don't deal with the fragment between us, we cannot deal with it.
Right, and let's talk about this split, which has become obvious now. I mean, different press conferences, the Sharia Council spoke, several other groups have been speaking about, the fallout of this. Some amplifying it, some denouncing it. Does that add fuel to the fire, Reverend? That, you have religious leaders, people in position, who, unlike you and Dr. Nuru, don't see eye to eye on the issues, right? One is either supporting what the narrative of the United States, and the other one is denying the narrative, right? How does that help the situation? How does that either make it better or make it worse, in your view?
Most of our religious organizations are made up of people who are answerable to some other people, who yield into pressure of those people. Okay, we just sat here now and I expressed why we think that way. And he explained to me in a very simple language, yes, it is true you think that way because it happens that way. But there's another side of it. And he explained, this is what some of our religious organizations and leaders have not tried to do. What they do is to please those pressures by going, and I will tell you, when this whole conversation started, I keep repeating this. I will not deny the killing. But I don't want Nigerians to be put on country of particular concern. Those who have been looking for excuse to nail me got me. And I have been consistently remained that. I don't want Nigerians to be put in country of particular concern, because in what country of particular concern means, they will deny our government or security men access to weapons, and they will put economic sanctions, which at the end is the local people they think they want to protect that will suffer. So I was looking at that. I think another person who amplified this voice more is Bishop Kuka. Was it not the same person who said it this time? Why is it changed? No. You see, there are two things happening here. I have been hurt, and sincerely, I feel bad. But I have also an obligation to ensure that Nigeria is protected and is safe. Now, I may have met a Muslim who prefer argument and debate, but I'm also meeting Muslims who say, no, we don't need to argue about this. The truth is that it is true. Some of the things you say did happen. But because probably you are in that pain, you didn't know it also happened to us. But I'll tell you one of the reasons why some Christians find it a little bit disturbing to understand the conversation. I'd come to you and tell you, sir, I was sleeping in my house and your son came and burnt my house or set my house ablaze. I think what we expect is that he did that. What? Why did it? And just sympathize as it started. But what we've been finding from other religious leaders is that, why are you going to say he burned your house? He has also burned my house. Are we competing who burned whose house? Those are the approaches that have led to where we are today. But we're having a conversation. There are many voices, I can tell you, many Muslim voices who are speaking to us, and there are many Christian voices, just as we spoke today, who are also speaking to people who understand and saying, look, this is our country, we must come together to fight and protect this country. But let's acknowledge where things are wrong, so that when we come to what we call the round table you are talking about, we're not coming to argue again. We are coming to acknowledge what went wrong. We are coming to admit where we went wrong. We are coming to admit where our children, our followers, our supporters didn't do what is expected, and commit ourselves to correcting it, either rebuking them, taking measure, and then when we collectively come out with one unison voice and tell government, whoever again persecute another person in this country in the name of religion, deal with him. We Muslim leaders are with you. We Christian leaders are with you. That will be the change. But the one we are doing press conferences, abusing each other and saying things and denouncing things, I don't want to say things that will sound negative here. When I look at those who make the press conferences and others, I will say, I wish they are victims. They will know the difference. They will understand the fire. But okay, it's okay. Right. Debate it. But we have talked enough. We have talked about figures enough. You have your figure, I have my figure. You have incidences that happen to you. Like I said in one media, sir, now one of the pains of this killing is not killing. You know, the killings we are facing in these stories we are saying is not the killing that they come and shoot you with gun. It's the killing that people caught you with knife. You know, it's so horrible. Right. But now, since we know this, what do we do to make our government sit up? What do we do to salvage this situation in Nigeria? I'm so happy with the introductory remark that you brought in, Hakim Baba Ahmed, to say. All those blame games, all those stories, we've had them. What next? And what next is, we talk honestly to one another, admit where things are wrong, challenge our government to sit up. I can say this for those who care to listen, that this whole thing didn't happen in 2023 to today. Let's be honest ourselves. We've had this killing long before. In 2023 to today, to a large extent, like me coming from Kaduna, I can say with confidence that it has changed. What
for the worse or for the better?
No, for the better. Right. What we're finding around 2016, 18, 19 to 2022 in Kaduna, I know how many times my job was like every week I go for burial. You're not burying one person, you're burying 10, you're burying 20, you're burying 30. But at least in about 24 months now, I'm not sure I've been anywhere to bury 10 or 20. Yes, I bury people who die, but not that kind of number. And I did a deliberate research the other day, and I asked different states in northern Nigeria what has happened in the last 12 months. And there are many of the states who can say, the last 12 months, the story is not what we used to know. But killings have not stopped. Right. It's just that the magnitude of it is not as before. So that means there's a shift. So how do we build on this, sustain it, and ensure that we will come to a time that no one person again will die?
Right, especially on the grounds of his religious belief. Right, Doctor, bring you back into the conversation. What do you make of the politicization of the arguments for and against the intervention of the United States and other interested parties in the international community? What do you think is playing out here?
What is playing out is a deviation. We have deviated from the main track, the mainstream. If I, as a Muslim, forgetting that in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala categorically stated that destroying one's soul is equal to destroying the whole humanity. If he, as a Christian, forgetting the verse which says, thou shalt not kill, then we are deviating. There is no qualification whatsoever in the Bible when the Lord says, thou shalt not kill. He did not say, thou shalt not kill a Christian. Thou shalt not kill a believer. The meaning of this is that thou shalt not kill or allow killing of any person, any human being. And the meaning of the Quran is also clear. Therefore, as Muslims, if we are to talk, we are not going to celebrate somebody killing a Christian. We are not supposed to support any person killing a Christian or an unbeliever. And as such, we're supposed to come together, talk to the government as people. Yes, there was threat from Donald Trump, and Nigeria was placed as a country of particular concern. We are not happy with that, but you, the politicians, are the cause of this, because it is your primary objective as politicians, as leaders, as government, to stop it, and you failed over time to stop it. Instead of us blaming those who are commercializing our blood, our blood, the Christian blood, the Muslims' blood, they are commercializing and politicalizing it. We failed to blame them. They succeeded in targeting me to be a blamer of my friend who is my neighbor, who is also a victim, inspiring me to deny that he was a victim. And they are now inspiring him to believe that I am not a victim. And we now come to blame the international communities for coming for their interest in our country. But we invited them. Our failure invited them. If there wasn't killing in Nigeria, Trump will not dare say that he will place Nigeria as a country of particular concern.
So you don't have any issues when maybe the numbers are not what many experts say is a true reflection of what's happening on the ground. You think that is a secondary issue, whether the numbers tally or not? You think that's not
a secondary issue. The main issue is constitutional duty of the government is no more there. They have failed. I'm glad he said it that in 2023 there is a shift, and we must maintain that shift to continuity to the last. But how can we, if the government is not ready to invite us to help in curtailing the problems?
And Reverend, let's talk about the government for a moment, because a lot of the onus is on the current administration to do the needful, whether as a reaction or as a counter to the narrative, because there's a lot of the conversation we're having today is about the narrative war, online and offline. But what do you make of the government's response since this issue became an international, gained international interest?
Those who went out to defend government and to counter whatever narrative that was coming from either Senator Ted Cruz or from Trump led us to where we are today. See, it's a very simple thing. If Ted Cruz is sponsoring a bill to ask us to account for killings of either Christians or whoever, period. We've heard you. We also set up our own agency we can say we have a presidential task force on religious freedom, who will investigate, advocate for religious freedom, investigate those who are committing religious freedom's crime, and prosecute them. Let's know this clearly. I think it's important I use this opportunity to say, when we speak about religious freedom, we're not speaking about interfaith. And many people don't understand
they are different.
Religious freedom is not about interfaith. Religious freedom is the freedom everybody have to practice the religion of his choice. But they went into it as if it was a debate, and that's why today different groups are debating among themselves. They're forgetting that in this same country we have traditional worshippers whom we despise many times. Christians and Muslims, we despise them.
Of course.
Forgetting that they are citizens of this country. We have Shango worshippers. We have even Hindus in this country. I've met them, I have had contraction with them. So sometimes we used to say, we Muslims and Christians, and they say, no, we people of faith, because they belong. So all of us are people of religion, but we are one family. So when we start this conversation as if it were, because it is the approach that makes it look like Christian versus Muslim. But if government has said, okay, we've heard you, we will investigate this, we'll set up our agency to investigate this, and before you know, we'll find solution to this matter. I know how these things work everywhere. The international community themselves will say, okay, we'll help you put up the structure that will work for you. If America can have a commission of religious freedom, what stops us from having one that deals with our issues, our unique situation? But I think we prefer to go into the politics of, hey, they are trying to spoil our name. And that's why even what Trump says is not what we're discussing. I listened to Trump, I read what Trump says. Trump never said he was coming to kill Nigerians. Trump simply said, terrorists are killing Christians in Nigeria. Get rid of them, or I will send my men to come and get rid of them for you. Today in Nigeria, we're saying, no, Trump is coming to destroy Nigeria. Before you know, so your colleagues in the media industry have changed the story and counting the number of states that Trump is coming to deal with their governors just to further create tension. And we keep reading this and responding, attacking each other for something that Trump didn't say and for something that will not work just by mere saying. But if we had come together to address it as, okay, are there citizens who feel they are being killed? Okay, we'll do something to make sure you're no longer killed. Right. Then another citizen will say, sorry, don't say they are the only ones being killed. We too are being killed. Oh, we'll do something so that nobody, I can tell Nigerians who care to listen, that the night that there was a problem in Zaria between the Shia and the military, I'm a pastor. I'm among the first people the Shia group called. I was in Lagos. I remember calling General Shika, who was then the spokesman of Burutai. If he watches this, he will confirm to you. I even called the then almighty Rufai, who was the governor of Kaduna State. And when he didn't pick, I sent him a text. I said, let's stop this. Look, I can add to you to tell you that there was even a day the security agencies in Kaduna State felt that the Shia group were going to some churches and they wanted to arrest pastors for even allowing them to enter church. And someone advised them that don't try that. Can you reach out to Reverend Hayab before it becomes a problem? And they called me. I came. We sat with all the officers and they presented that story that they want to arrest them and know what did the Shia people came and do. And I quickly told them, sorry sir, if you're going to arrest those people, I'll be the first you will arrest. Because every Easter, every Christmas, and even Salah, and even Mauludi, I used to host Shia. What? And I told them, sir, I'm hosting them because one, they're human. I'm hosting them too because they are Muslims. I want to relate with them in such a way that together we'll give Kaduna peace. So there are things people do sometimes that they don't understand. That was what stops the arrest that time. If government have actually seek for counsel, honestly, the first response, the trying to bring up narratives that they brought, further flame what you are seeing today. But I think the hope is not lost. We can still correct it now because someone have knocked at our door to remind us that there's fire on our roof. So how do we put off the fire? We don't begin to talk, are you the one who's seeing our fire? There's fire in our roof. Let's find a way to put it off so that Nigeria will be better for us, for our children, and for our grandchildren.
And
you listen to that? Yeah, like I said, this is a scholar. This is his views concerning this. A lot of persons has been waiting for him to also speak concerning this. This man, he doesn't speak anyhow like that. Yeah, he's a scholar, former ambassador, whatever. So now my own is this man has established the fact that there is Christian genocide going on in Nigeria. He have explained. If you say there is no Christian genocide, or anybody saying there is no Christian genocide, the person should try. If you are a Christian or if you are a Muslim, you say there is no Christian, especially if you are a Christian and you say there is no Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, you should try and live in this north, one of the states in the north, spend 90 days or 100 days in the north and come back and give your whole experience. Then you will understand what people living there are facing, what Christians over there are facing. Then you will truly understand if there is Christian genocide or not. Do you understand? So that one has established. And now, like I said, this man is a scholar. So if this man has said, plus other where many Nigerians has suddenly, if you see everybody are speaking out loudly concerning this, if especially this man, plus other men who has condemned this, who says there's Christian genocide going on, who is Reno Omokri to say there's no Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, who is Daniel Boala to say there's no Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, who is these political jobbers in APCs saying there's no Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, who is even Sheikh Gumi to say there's no Christian genocide going on in Nigeria. All these people, I don't know what to call them, but now you hear from, when you listen to somebody like this, a man like this, and plus other well-meaning Nigerians, you know there is Christian genocide that has been established. So the problem is the solution we are looking for. You that is saying Donald Trump should not come, I don't think you know better than this man. Like I said in my previous videos, if you have been following, now the major issue is Donald Trump should not come. He's coming for our resources. He's after our resources. This and this and that. He's going to take a there is nothing free in the Western world. Nothing is free. It's only in Nigeria we have every day is a Christmas. We do this thing. So even if there's a fee attached to this, reasons why Donald Trump is coming, that has advantage. But if he did not come and these people continue, that also have his own advantage. So you need to balance it. You need to do it. You have to be very strategic in this. Do you understand? So you balance it. You look, coming. What does it mean for us? For him to come, what benefit do we have to benefit from Donald Trump's intervention? And if he did not come, as a lot of persons have been saying, Donald Trump should not come. This, that. He should not do this. He's not the gun. I'm raising this, that. So you also need to understand. Okay, if he does not come and these people continue, so what happened next? What happened next? Now they are in Kwara State. So the next thing is to move down to the southeast, or if they're already there, right? So you need to see the advantage of coming, what advantage it gives to you, to us Nigerians who have not been affected now, and the disadvantage he have if he did not come, because we do not want him to come and take our resources. Meanwhile, what have you been benefiting from these resources that we are all talking about? Do you get my point? So this man said, a lot of persons said, who is Reno Omokri? Reno Omokri, who? Anyways, now he said, what do you say? Please leave your comment and don't forget to share this video. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Like I said, there is a problem. This is Nigeria. This is a problem before us. What do we need? A solution. If there is problem, is this problem doable? Is this solvable? Can we do it on our own? Yes. It determines the action of the leaders if we are going to do it on our own. And it's very good that at least when you look at everywhere now, what is on the front paper is Christian genocide. This topic is now a global debate. A lot of persons are commenting, speaking out. So that one alone is even giving a lot of ideas how Tinubu should go about it. So Tinubu should not tell me now that he's confused, he doesn't know what to do, how to solve it. Even if El-Rufai, that he was thinking initially that he was going to help him to solve the problem of insecurity, because on the day they went to Chela House to speak, was El-Rufai answered the issue of security. He was thinking that El-Rufai was going to handle the issues of insecurity because he knows better about these boys they brought to Nigeria. But unfortunately, El-Rufai fell out of him, so it becomes a problem. So now a lot of persons have been speaking out loud. They giving a lot of advices, solutions, suggestions, what to do and how to do it. So he's not going to say, or his military personnel, they're not going to say that they doesn't know what to do again. The only thing is they need to focus and they need to put sentiment apart. They need to be decisive, and they need in fact, the one thing about Nigeria military or Nigeria security agencies, because they are together, they are the repentant Boko Haram are working with them. So after a lot of plannings, they are still going to expose the information to the Boko Haram, to different groups, before this military make any move. That's another problem. So that is it. That was the reason why the US left at that time. This man have just explained to you. How do you cope with this kind of people? The US will not be happy to work with them again in this, collaborate with them in this. Because if not because of that secret that was exposed at that time, maybe this problem would have been at least reduced to a minimal level. But because of that leaking of intelligent planning on how to deal with the issue of this Boko Haram to rescue those Chibok girls at that time, who does that? So the US, they left angrily that, hey, this is it again, the same issue again. So they will not be willing to come and work with them. Is either they come and work on their own, or they do not come at all, because they are not going to waste their time come again. At the end of the day, they did not achieve anything. Do you understand? So that is it. You know, what do we want? Solution. We want everybody safe in this country. Everybody should be protected. Everybody should be protected, should live wherever you find yourself living. So you deserve to be safe because you are citizens of this country. What do you think? Please share this video and subscribe for more.